Ready, bud? Ready? Come on then. Go for a meander first, shall we? I've already done it. Zoe's shouting at me to do the girth. I have sound on this time, so the conversation might sound one-sided between me and you, but on the audio, because there isn't a microphone on Zoe. But yeah, welcome back to pudding. Should we have some chocolate pudding? So we've got another jumping day today. Again, not especially high jumps. The purpose of them is to just get the reps in, like lifting weights. He has to get strong again. And then we're going to go hacking. I'm thinking I might do slightly less than I did last time. I don't want to overdo it. But quick little play on the ground, see what you've got going on, kiddo, in your groundwork. Oh, well, I scared the crap out of him already. There you go, forward and hind leg, and forward and good boy, there you go. He knew you knew how to do it. He knew you knew how to do it. That's it. Now I'm going to pick up that poo before you mash that in, because that's right in the line where I'm going to want to be cantering, isn't it? You want to go for a hack right now? Come on. We're going to do a little work. And where did that poop go? Aha. It's only like 2 nuggets put, but that will just vanish into the surface if I don't get it. Won't it? He's a little bit less willing today to come in here, I noticed, just on leading him in, which makes me wonder if I've done a bit too much yesterday. I'll just take it easy today. I still want to get some jumping reps in, as much for me as for him. As I explained in the last video, I need to do a lot more jumping. So I do wonder if it was more the flag work on the ground than the jumping, as that seems to be what really bothered him. It's difficult because you have to approach these fear things and you have to work through them, but oftentimes, you know, that becomes what the horse thinks about. It's so important, you know, if a stress like that comes up, it's so important that you work through it. You know, there should be nothing that I can do that equals that level of stress in him. So I'm starting with this, in the same sort of area. You can see him getting tight even just there with that, hey? That a boy. There we go. It was not my best swing, Puds. Forgive me on that one. The tricky thing is that area is really sensitive. Yeah, Puds. That a boy. That a boy. There you go. There you go. Hey? It's not so bad, is it? Hey? It's not so bad. Cool. Let's have a little look at the flag. It's annoying because it's another windy day. It's sort of the enemy of the flag work, because you can't release properly when the flag just flaps on its own. But we'll start with it wrapped up. We'll go from there. Oh dear. I know, kiddo. What a boy. Yes, it's not making so much of a flapping noise. It's a little easier for you to manage, isn't it? You kind of can see, though, he's not completely okay. It's not horrendous, but he's got that sort of wide-eyed look about him. Like he knows he's not supposed to react. Which is a good first step, right? It's, yeah. I know, you're alright, big kid. Come here. You're alright. I know. Find that very hard, don't you, kiddo? That's it. You're okay. And you might be able to see it out both eyes, high up, and hear it. And like whatever emotion this is, whatever we know what emotion it's triggering, or whatever has caused this, it might just be, a lack of seeing the flag, but that doesn't seem like a very good explanation, because he seems very good with it everywhere else. It's just a very specific area that he's upset with. And it's always interesting to wonder, like, how did this happen? How did he get upset with it up here? Sometimes it's just they were born like that. Their mothers maybe had a bad experience, and then that was imprinted onto the foal, or he may have had a flag fall on his head and it scared him and he ran away and it fell off, and that was that. But it's one of those things, you want to being able to work on it in a situation like this, where I can kind of go, you're okay, I'm with you, and you survived. It was tough, I know, but trust me, it's going to be fine. It's really nice to be able to work on it here, rather than it. Sometimes when you've had a horse that's been eventing or done any sort of jumping, you find that the whole concept of approaching the jump is something that's scary. And that can actually be more tricky, because you have to go into jumps and you have to do the jumps in order to create the fear response. Where with him, this is not the only thing that will create a fear response in him, but it's a really easy way to create a fear response in him, without having to put myself in a particularly dangerous position. Where other... Oh, I know, it's hard, isn't it? Other things that scare him, like jump wings and things like that, we may have to go out and find some scary jump wings and go up and sniff them and do approach and retreat and flooding and do all of the things that we do to desensitize horses to anything from fire to flags flapping. But if I can sort of establish with him that actually, if I say it's okay, it is okay, even with something that scares him this much, if I can establish that at home first, before I take him into a new environment and have him see something, because whenever you add, say, a new environment or something he's never seen before, or more speed, it's like adding more pressure, more energy, more difficulty. When we start horses, the first thing we do is just sit there, and we don't do anything, and if they wander off, we let them. We don't try to stop them or block them, because that adds another layer. The human sitting on you is one thing, the human telling you what to do is another. And so, going cross country is one of those. It's so many things all put together. That was better though. That was better today, so I'm happy with that. So all we need is a little bit each day. This is feeling like it's going to be more of an educational video than the other ones for some reason. Am I just more chatty today? Okay. These videos are not meant to be especially educational. They're not, you know, if you want to do something as complicated as what we're planning on doing with pudding, you can't just watch a video and do it. It's not that simple. You know, you will need an instructor, but at the same time there are some things, some concepts or theories that you might find interesting. You might learn something that you can apply to your horse. So whenever possible I would like to talk. But just know, like, this is not a manual on how to get your specific horse to go and do anything. From show jumping to cross country to eventing to hacking to being okay, you know, every horse is individual, every person is individual, so whilst these things might help you understand the theory, they're not meant to be a comprehensive educational series. Because if I was going to do a comprehensive hacking series, I'd have several horses with different personalities to show multiple different strategies of how you can help a horse get better, where this is just going to be pudding. That is my treat pocket, and you don't get sweeties until the bit goes in. No, I know. You do like your sweeties, don't you? Hmm? You're a bit obsessive. You're a little bit obsessive. Hmm? It's like the treat argument. Do you use treat? Don't you use treats? Everybody's different. I'm sort of, some horses none at all. A lot of horses I use a lot of treats. Just know the effect you're having with treats. It's very easy to have a very negative effect with treats. If you're aware of the potential negative effects, you can avoid them often. Though we've got more than one horse here that is not allowed treats under any circumstances. And you're not going to be one that gets many. But I always figure it's a pretty fair deal. You're putting something fairly horrible in your mouth, so we'll taint it with something that tastes good. The bit's not that horrible. It's a nice soft bit, but it's still... I'm sure you'd, if I could ask you, I'm sure you'd prefer not to put a piece of metal in your mouth. Wouldn't you? I think you'd rather just ride with this, so that I couldn't tell you what to do too much. I had someone say once that riding bridleless or with just a halter is easy for the horse and hard for the human, because the human has to work harder and use their timing better and ask for nicer things, and riding with a bit is easy for the human but harder for the horse. And I like that. Bits are very good, very effective at communicating very quickly to a horse. But because of that, you can basically take advantage of your horse without meaning to. So we do have to be careful. Difficult for us, not... yeah. That's the difficult part for us. Easy, it's so easy for us to communicate to them. It becomes difficult. Be very careful, don't put... Right, where is the stick? Where did you put it? Where did you put it? Weren't you in charge of sticks? Seems like if I was in charge of sticks, you wouldn't have one. I know, but you tend to ignore me sometimes, and you need a reminder. Come on. Come on then. Probably should have changed my boots before bridling you, but I wasn't really thinking, was I? I was thinking about theory, I wasn't thinking about the best order to do this in, was I? You think? Jump a few jumps, go for a hack? I reckon we just do it 4 times one way, 4 times the other and call it good, rather than last time we did the 2 jumps 8 times each way, I think, for a total of 16 jumps. I know we did a total of 16, didn't we? So it was 2 jumps, we went around 4 times both ways. Yeah. We'll just do a bit less than last time. Unless you're really, really wild and up for it, then we'll go for it. Good boy, Pud. Okay, Pud. Attaboy. Attaboy. Come on back. No, come on back. There you go. No, come on back. Puds. 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 Yeah, there we go. I'm not getting on you if you're not going to let me do it. No, we don't wander off, do we? No. You're definitely just that little bit more anxious today, aren't you? Did we overdo it last time? Okay. It's something like, you notice it, right? You notice that your horse is not letting you get on at the mounting block. You notice if they don't want to be bridled, but it doesn't mean that you don't do anything, and that's quite important. I think there's like a misconception with natural horsemanship where they think, we just don't ride because we'll notice that these things have happened, that my horse is bothered, and we'll try to adjust our session. It doesn't mean I'm not going to ride him today, right? I'm just very aware that it took me longer to get him in the arena today and longer to get him through the gate, and I don't necessarily make that a reflection on my ride today. I make that a reflection on my rides up till now and try to adjust my future plans to kind of go, that's interesting that he's just a little bit less willing today. It might have nothing to do with the last ride, but you're better off to adjust that and just see if it makes him... The fact that he blew out almost as soon as we started walking was really good, so I'm not overly worried. At the same time, I don't want to... You always want to be making an upward trend, not a downward trend. Gradually getting more relaxed each session, not more tense. And Zoe, there's like a large bit of carpet that seems to have come up right in front of the jump. Do you mind? Sorry. It probably won't be a problem because he's not got shoes or anything, but for it to get tangled in. This surface is it's not new anymore, but there's still like the occasional time we have to notice a bit of carpet wasn't shredded quite right, or a bit of plastic that might have gotten caught in the machine when they were making it, so we do have to kind of keep our eyes open for that. But yeah, instead of going, oh well, I won't jump him today because he's really, he's not feeling it, I've spent longer walking and I've let him have his head more in this early stage, and I'm thinking, well, if he's not feeling it, much like when I'm not feeling it when I go to the gym, I'm going to reduce my expectations for today, but still do it. Even if I only go through that set of jumps once, you know. Let's reduce our expectation a little bit, take a bit longer over warm-up, and just see if that makes a difference. It might just be he's having an off day, and I don't want to throw out my whole plans because he's having an off day, but at the same time, when I have an off day and I go into the gym, I don't expect myself to get the best reps in, but I make myself go still, because if I didn't, then I'd lose my routine, my habits, and I'd get to where I didn't have good days anymore, because, yeah. Whenever you hear me talking metaphors about the gym or like exercise, you know I'm working on physical. And then whenever it's sort of how I'm feeling, his energy, you know, it's emotional. And anytime I say he didn't listen, he didn't respond, I got something wrong, it's respect. Mental. So, right, come on up, big kid, come on up. Atta boy. There we go. You may or may not have noticed I quite often get the wrong diagonal in the beginning. My first horse, Stormy, was really naughty. He'd always put me on the wrong diagonal. And I still, like 20 years later, I still struggle with this whole, with this diagonal thing. Because my very first horse trained me to do it the wrong way. Good boy, Put. Come up a bit. Yeah, up a bit. Up a bit. That's it. I know you don't need to be up there to do that manoeuvre because you're talented. It's good for you to practice having your head up, okay? Without me nagging you. He has a bit of a tendency, like he wants to put his head down, which is really nice actually. I always want my horses thinking head down, but he has a little bit of a tendency to make me nag him to keep his head up. That's better. Soften that pole. Atta boy. There you go. It's definitely worth spending a touch bit longer on these exercises today. I was trying to tell you to get your shoulders over because I knew this turn would be more difficult. Okay? No, I'm not going to send you into the grid on that angle. That would be horrendous. He just feels like maybe he's a tiny bit stiff. He's loosening off a bit more. Maybe that was the thing. Maybe he's just a little. He had a equissage last night actually. That's better. There you go. It's better because I'm not having to keep his head up. I know his position is not perfect. That's it. Shoulder over. There you go. Yes. But I can keep the reins loose, and I'm not having to keep saying no. Don't put your head down. And then I pull up, and you put your head down, and you extend. Atta boy. Boy. Atta boy. And then I pull up, and you extend. Good boy. Yes. Good. I could just feel him making like a bit of an assumption that we were going to start cantering. This is the routine, right? We have actually established a bit of a, we do this, then this, then this routine. And I never like that. It wasn't like, you probably couldn't tell the difference, but he just had like a, and we're going to canter now, right? And it's like, no, not necessarily. And I'm not going to do that every time. If I feel him go, we're going to canter now, I might just go, yeah. But like there he went, you're going to circle me, right? And I went, sideways, and then he went, but you're still going to circle me, right? And I went, yeah. Because you're so nicely set up for it. It seems silly to like, he's holding himself beautifully like that. It's like, oh, I shouldn't just say no just for the sake of my ego, because I'm the one doing the riding. It can be a difficult philosophy though. With riding, because you want to have a partner that you're riding, not a master-slave relationship, which means sometimes going with your horse's idea, because a master would never take a slave's opinion, but sometimes that opinion is not something you want to hear, or not not in line with what you're planning. And so being able to go, yeah, let's do your idea every so often, creates that partnership, rather than it being, I tell you what to do and you do it without question, which inevitably always falls apart at some point. You know, that whole you will do as you're told thing. Good boy, Pud. Atta boy. Now, these jumps are not meant to be intimidating. If he was scared of these, the height, the stride length, any of that, if he gets flustered doing it, then I've set it up wrong, you know. We're not doing mental, emotional training on this. This is physical training, so he should feel super confident about these jumps. So leading him up to them and letting him look at them at the walk is like a good idea, yeah, because it's not about, you know, if I wanted to scare him with a jump, I would set it up very differently. The whole idea here is that he should be like completely blasé about it, in the same way that I'm not scared of my weightlifting equipment at the gym, you know. Yeah, I know. Big sigh. Why do I have to have such a terrible human heart? Up, 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 up. Come on. Well, we need to get you cantering before we start you jumping, don't we? The question is, can you give me a really nice canter depart here? Can you manage that? Got it in you? Ready? It was there. I felt it. Good boy. Oh, what a pony. You got such sexy gait, haven't you? Hey? I hope you know that. I hope you know in your heart of hearts how sexy you are. Atta boy. Atta boy, yeah? Yeah? Good boy. Yeah? You're so ready for it. Come on then, let's see it. Good boy. And that's like an example of the opposite, right? He was going, we're going to canter now, right? We've done one lead, now let's do the other. And it's like, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. That is exactly what's going to happen now. Oh, he's just so lovely to ride. You are so lovely to ride, Pud. You even read when I wanted to come down as well. What a ponyo, hey? I know, super easy, right? Good boy. Atta boy. And we're done? Not quite. We're not quite done. Pud, Pud. No, we got some jumping to do. We got some jumping to do. Straighten up. I know, I kind of gave it to you last time. I'm not going to give it to you every time, though. That's not the point. You know? And it's the first time I've tried to do like a jump and then a jump, in this style with him. So I'm still, as much as I'm very confident in what I'm doing with him, I'm still experimenting a little bit with what we're capable of. This is meant to be spaced for 2 strides on landing. They're quite big strides for a small arena. So let's give it a go, hey? See what we get. They're going to need to be longer strides than that pud, I think. Yeah. One, two, good boy. What a boy. I'm going to do it a few more times. I know, you're a good pony. I'm going to get to where we can do 16 easy, eh? Boy, good boy. Really trying, it's hard. I'm really trying not to jab him on landing. I noticed when I watched the video back in super slow motion of my jumps at French's. Ooh, big long jump, good boy. I noticed that my hands, I jabbed him a little bit on landing. Once more, pud. I'm loving this. I'm loving how chilled he is. I feel chilled. Yeah, we'll go a bit wider this time, hey? Keep it up. 2, 1, 2. Little one, good boy, yeah. I love how he just doesn't feel stressed. The whole time it's like, and we could walk at any time. Right? That's how I want his arena jumping to feel, and I want to get to where I can have 4 jumps set up either side, and I don't feel tense, he doesn't feel tense, and we just pop, 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 and it's just like, oh, whatever. Because I still get like excited flutters, and I get anxious that I'm going to make mistakes, and all that stuff. It's just awesome. He's just a dude. The jumps, he gets stressed about me managing him wrong, I think. And so I need to get much, much better. There was a couple times there where I was like, we're going to hit it on the long stride instead of hitting it on the good stride. You know, like, I didn't set his strides up well. And I'm being hard on myself. I only had like 2 strides or 3 strides to organize him into this quite a long set of strides through here. So it's complicated. But I figure if I can do really complicated low jumps, really simple high jumps, we'll be set to go somewhere new and do something that's not very complicated and not as high as we can go and not as low as these. You know what I mean? Trying to isolate all the pieces, which is how I was taught to break down all of my problems with horses. From my starting young horses days, it's like teach the horse the leg aids and then repeat until the horse no longer ever questions the leg aids. Then practice the jumping and jump and jump, and you know, it's the same idea. We're just applying the same principles, but I'm applying it to something I've never applied it to, although everyone I talk to about it says, yeah, that's how we do it. So I don't think and you know, if you're watching this and you are an eventer, please, or a show jumper or anything like that, please, let's have a discussion, because I'm learning about competition and I'm learning about how to train a horse physically to do something, to do jumping, not something, jumping. I've taught horses to do other physical things, like cantering bridleless and working cattle. And I've done driving. I've trained horses to drive before, but I've never had the privilege of having such a nice horse to train physically. It's always been, I've always had someone else's horse that I've come in and fixed the mental emotional, and somebody else has trained the physical, and I'm really excited. I've said this before, I'm really excited to finally have a talented horse that I can teach the physical to. Because I've got the theory of how to do it, jumping. And if you gave me a driving horse, no problems there at all. If I had a driving horse to train how to get because it's more physically fit driving. I just get a point there for how much I nailed that what do you call it, diagonal. I nailed that diagonal. I just want to say that diagonal got nailed. Good boy. That's it, don't lose your bend though. Don't lose your bend though. Good lad. That's it. Over, over. You're going to struggle if you don't get over. 1, 2, 3. You're getting the 3 steps in there. I was thinking 3. That's my fault, isn't it? I need to be thinking longer. I need to be thinking 2. That's it. Don't start zigzagging in there. 1, 2. Oh, kiddo. I know they're spaced wide, but let's really try and get that longer stride this time, hey? Let's try and set you up in that longer stride this time. Longer. 1, 2. Oh, you still got the 3. That's okay. That's okay. I don't really blame him for that. I feel like that's my setup more than his ability. Maybe he is being a touch lazy. But at this stage, I'm not really interested in that. I am not at... Okay, alright. I shouldn't do this, because you're a bit naughty with sweeties. But I am really pleased with you for that. For tolerating me through that. Come on. I need to get more practice in before I can feel like, no, you messed that up, not me. Although I felt like on that last one, I had him set up pretty well. He squeezed in a tiny little extra one. So I probably needed to give him a little tap. But I feel like it was probably more pilot error in that I'd set him up to do 3 the first time, and then he just kept the routine. And I challenged myself, right? I didn't set this up to be dead on his pace. This is a long stride in a very short turn into a very long striding 2-step or a 3 short step. So I made it difficult for myself to see whether we could do it, to see how much stress it would cause him, to have me thinking about those technical details instead of just wanging it and going for it. And I love that he just didn't really get that tense. He obviously got somewhat tense because when I let him go, he's gone immediately. But I don't think he's so tense that it's a problem. Up, 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 puts when you stop. Little front end yield. Little front end yield. Good boy. Back up a step with your head up, please. Good boy. Awesome. I'm loving riding this horse. It's just great fun. He's got so much talent and so much to teach me. Like Puffer's got a really nice jump, but he jumps very up and down, and he's just not got the experience that Pudding has. You can feel that Pudding has done this more than I have. And when I was a kid, I learned to ride bareback and do stunts. I didn't learn jumping. Like Zoe was saying, she must have jumped thousands of times as a kid, and I jumped maybe a couple hundred. I jump more now that I am a professional than I ever did as a kid, which is unusual. But it's because I learned natural horsemanship from the beginning. So it's really cool to have a horse that feels really safe through the jumps, knows his job through the jumps, so that I can just learn from him. And then I've got the experience with the flag work and the fear hacking and the fear that's likely to come up in competition, which I've isolated into 3 things. If this is the first video you've seen of this, I've isolated that into 3 things. It's strange objects, which all horses have, and actually that's more of a respect thing, that they trust you when you say it's fine, they trust you. And that actually won't be the most difficult to teach. Then it's pressure, or being told what to do with lots of force, which will come up because you'll go, oh, I need to make this turn, and you'll try to be like, now, and that might get him, that will likely upset him. where it doesn't upset Puff or other horses that are well trained like him. I consider him very well trained. He's got lots of knowledge in there. He's not an idiot at all, and he's very clever. And then finally, it's other horses creating energy. So when another horse leaves or things like that. So we haven't really got too much into that on the videos yet. But at some point in the future, we will go hacking with someone else, and they will split off, and then we'll meet back up, and then they'll split off, and then we'll meet back up until that sort of going and leaving, one horse cantering off, doesn't change his emotional state. But we'll treat that again like training here, where we start small, we build and build and build and build and build, getting 2% better each day. And by next year, I'm hoping that we'll be able to sit in the warm-up ring and watch horses galloping around and be like, wow, look at that energy, and not feel it ourselves, right? But I get the feeling, because Zoe had one of our staff ride him and he was very tense. I have the feeling that it was the combination of all the horses going around holding him up and then scary jumps that caused him to get upset. I don't know what he did especially, but I just heard that it wasn't good, because I don't want to know. I don't want to know what can happen, because then that's in my mind and I'm worrying about it. I imagine he reared and spun sideways, because that's what he's done a little bit with me, but I've never pushed him enough that he's actually reared or got upset. So yeah, awesome. Well, I hope you've enjoyed all of this today. It's been great. Like I said, I'm making it a little bit easier. He wasn't feeling, if he'd come into the jumps and got way more energetic and got like, yeah, and like felt really like excited at this point, I would push for a bit more and be like, yeah, come on, let's use that energy. But I think he's having a bit of an off day. I think at the beginning he was stressing about the flag, because I upset him with the flag the other day. He knew it was coming. He sort of got that that's the routine, we're going to do a bit with the flag, and that made him tense about coming in the arena. And he saw the jumps and he knew we were going to do lots of jumps again, and I think it just sort of made him a bit so rather than push for more, let's just leave it on a really nice place where he's tried really well. Even though the jump wasn't perfect, that's not the point. The point is he feels good about himself, I feel good about him, he's done everything I've asked. What more could you want, really? He's in a happy place. So we're going to cool down by walking around the tracks. Unfortunately, my GoPro, I used it earlier and it's out of battery, so I didn't put it on charge, so we won't be a video of that. But I'm not doing anything new in the hacking. It'll be more or less exactly the same hack as was in the last video. I may go a bit further if he feels really good. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next one.